I'm Mick Taylor. I'm one of the owners of Talbot with Nia, my wife, and David, our chef. We jointly own the business, having bought it in 2011. The oldest part is the bar at the end of the building with the big fireplace. We think, who knows, it may be 17th century, it may be earlier, it's difficult to say. Trigger Hotel was built later, probably around the time the railway arrived in 1864. It may well be that someone saw the opportunity to develop the inn with the increased traffic from the railway, and therefore you get shooting parties and fishing parties coming from further afield and enjoying the hospitality. The Talbot is a hound, it's a hunting dog. It seemed like a dog was the most appropriate logo. You know, we're a country inn, hunting, shooting, fishing, all these sort of things. Dogs are part of the local economy, herding the sheep. And apparently it was such a sort of wild dog, because they'd use it for hunting deer and things like that. It was impossible to keep, and they sort of bred it out in the end. For a very remote place, we seem to get more than our fair share of well-known people. President Jimmy Carter stayed twice. For anyone who's read George Borrow's Wild Wales, it was written in around 1860 when he travelled through Wales on foot, and he describes his journey. Stayed at the Talbot. He said he had a jolly nice bed, good meal and very good hospitality. Well, that's meat and drink for us, obviously, and as we say on our website, all we're trying to do is repeat the experience that George Borrow had 100 odd years ago, 150 years ago. The photo was taken in 1972, the Tregaron Rodeo. Rodeos were quite popular apparently in those days, and we know who the person being thrown from the horse is because he's one of our customers, Melvin Sonny Hill, and he pointed the photo out to me one evening where he was having a quick pint, and he said, "You know who that is there? It's me, obviously 40 years younger."
When I was owner on the farm, I used to break horses in. A farmer's having a horse in to break it in and take it back to the farmer. Either he was selling it on or whatever, and I was doing about 30 a year, like sideline. So I could ride pretty well. When the rodeo came, I just, in my line, if you know what I mean, and I just tried the rodeo, and I was pretty good at it. And that photo is 1972, and I was 22-year-old then.
Another great story, I mean that's the thing about the Talbot, there are many stories and myths and anecdotes. And of course one of the great stories is the arrival of Batty's Menagerie in July 1848. Probably came over the mountain road from the borders on a tour. One of the elephants drank from a well called the farm's called Branmuin. The well was poisoned. There was a lot of mining in this area then, lead, copper, all that sort of thing, and there was a lot of arsenic and cyanide and stuff flowering around, and by all accounts the elephant drank the water and died 2 days later in the stables and was buried behind the Talbot. There is something very special about it. I think it's partly about the feel of the building and the history and the character, but it's also about the fact that it's a centre of life, and all sorts of people come into the Talbot. You know, our people say, who's your typical customer? Well, I'm not a typical customer. Our customers come from far and wide and near. They can live 100 yards away or 1,000 miles away. This is an interesting place where interesting things have happened and might happen again.